Hey everybody, welcome back. Welcome to Real Estate Royalty. My name's Reshonda Johnson, and thank you so much for joining me. If you haven't subscribed, the perfect opportunity is always going to be definitely right now. Definitely follow us on social media. We have Instagram, we have Facebook, YouTube. Obviously, that's where you're watching this video. I'll post the handles down below. But with that being said, the topic of today's video is going to be good credit versus bad credit and how it can affect your home buying process. So if you've watched any of my previous videos, you definitely know I've said probably numerous times that I was actually going to make a more detailed video for credit. So here it is. Now, before I get into this video, just like I do every other video, a couple of disclaimers. So before I get into this video, disclaimer number one, some of the examples discussed in the video can obviously be best case or worst case scenario. Therefore, don't take every example so literally. Everyone operates a little bit differently and every scenario is different for every person. Disclaimer number two, all the opinions or tips that are in this video are my personal opinions based off of my personal experience working in real estate. So if you disagree with anything that I'm saying, doesn't mean that, I'm right and you're wrong or vice versa. Honestly, it's just a preference. You can do whatever it is that you want that makes you feel most comfortable, because at the end of the day, this is going to be the biggest investment that you're making in your life. So definitely make sure that you're comfortable with it. So as I get into this video, I'll let you know a little bit about credit. Your credit score helps lenders decide how likely you are to repay your debts. And it does actually play a significant role when securing something like a mortgage. Obviously, you need that in order to purchase a house. So scores range anywhere from 300 to 900 points, and it's based off of your payment history, your ability to repay debts on time, and obviously, the more you're not able to do that, the lower your credit score will be. So the ranges are typically 800 to 900 is excellent credit score. 720 to 799 is very good. You will have a variety of choices of mortgages that you can get. 650 to 719 is good. You'll have a good variety. It might not be the lowest interest rates available, but you'll still have a good selection. 600 to 649 is fair. You definitely have some inquiries on your credit report and you do have some history of debt repayment. And 300 to 599, you definitely have work to do. So first tip in order to get you up would be paying off or paying down recurring debt to lower than 40 or 30%. So in my previous video, I definitely stated that you should only use your credit card to about 30 to 40% of its total limit or its total balance. To your creditors, it makes you look like, or it makes you seem, or gives the illusion that you have the ability to carefully manage your money, even when the money is not technically yours. When you're using the money and maxing it out, your creditors will definitely get concerned. Fortunately, but unfortunately, this is not your money. You actually borrowed it from lenders, and you actually have to pay it back. You signed a contract stating that you're responsible for returning all the amount plus interest. So that 30 to 40% will keep you and your credit score at a decent place and will actually increase every once in a while. Another option to obviously up your credit score is definitely going to be to pay your bills on time. So many of you who aren't familiar or don't even look at your statement when they come in, somewhere at the top, there's usually located, whether it's on the paper statement or an e-statement, it will tell you exactly when your bills are due. I don't know how much I can stress this, but that date is to ensure that you're able to meet your payments on time. And this definitely does affect your credit score. A lot of people don't know that, but for every time that you have a late payment, credit card companies, they start a clock. So let's say you had a 680 credit score and let's say you missed, 30 days without payment. Your credit score can actually drop anywhere between 70 to 90 points for one late payment. If you had, let's say, a 780 credit score and let's say, by the time you've gotten to 90 days late payment, you can drop anywhere between 105 to 135 points. That can literally be the deal breaker between actually getting a mortgage and not getting a mortgage. So honestly, if you're at that point, you just can't make the payment, give your creditors a call. The reason why I say this is because they can rearrange with you to make your payment at a later date when it's more convenient for you without it taking a hit at your credit score. If your payment history gets really bad, they can literally start coming after you, your assets. They can also start garnishing your wages as well if it gets to that point. So definitely be careful. Another tip that I have is remove an account from collections or two. So provided that you've reached to that point where, you have a couple of accounts that are in collections, in order to raise your credit score so that you're at more of a rate where you're able to actually get qualified for a mortgage, definitely give your creditors a call. This is another time where you'd be able to, go ahead and don't just pay it off. Pay it off after you've had the conversation with them where you have an agreement where you're negotiating, a pay and delete. And make sure you get that in writing. Only when you have that written agreement, you should pay off the collection account, and then then at that point you can start working on getting that account deleted so that can raise your credit limits. That brings me into my next point. Raise your credit limits. Call your credit card companies and see if you can get a raise. So let's say your credit card was at $100 and you're used to using, 70% of it. Get a raise. Ask them, call them, say like, hey, I'd like to get a raise on my credit card. Maybe go to the 200 mark or the 250 mark and still only keep using it at that $70 mark. Because then at that point, what it looks like is that you have a higher limit. You're more able to manage your money. And at that point, you'll be sitting in that, 70-30 zone. Or, that 60-40 zone. So using only 30 to 40% of your balance. So if you have a low balance and you are consistent in making sure that you're paying it off, then at that point you have a higher chance of getting a higher credit. Next point would be to get credit. There are many people that come in, whether they're, new to Canada, they're immigrants, they're young, that literally just never have ever had any type of credit. What I would say to you is you don't have to go in and rack up as many credit cards as possible in order for you to get credit. Literally just grab maybe one or two, something that has a good balance where you're actually, yes, able to definitely grow your credit score. It does take a few months. You don't have to have a high balance. You can always have a low balance. Make sure that you're executing and having a tactic strategy in order to grow your credit score. Another point would be use a system to make payments. So in one of my previous videos, I said that you should always use, a 21-day period before you start paying off those debts. So if I purchase something today, I'm going to make sure that I'm going to pay it off within 21 days. So the way that it typically works, credit card companies usually have between like a 21 to 25-day period after your bill comes out where you're able to pay it off. Now, if I purchase something literally the day after my bill came out, you're not expected to pay for that thing that you just purchased after your bill came out. So just keep that in mind. Make sure that you're keeping it within that payment bracket where you're going to be able to pay it off on the next bill, but make sure you're paying off everything that was on that current bill, or at least making the minimum payments. Charge small amounts to an inactive credit card. So a lot of people get into the habit of, getting a credit card after, 6 months, they pay it all off and then they're like, hey, I don't want to touch it anymore. Instead of leaving it like that, charge small amounts to the credit card. After paying it off the balance, basically what that does is obviously keeps your credit running. So even if it's something as small as, buying something little on it and paying it off after that 21 days, like I said, definitely keep that in mind and make sure you keep that going. Another thing that I would say would be keep the number of credit cards that you have to a reasonable amount. When you have a ton of credit cards and a lot of them have high they have a high credit limit. So let's say you had 3 cards and they all totaled up to like 50,000 plus. Let me tell you, there's a lot of creditors that are out there. They look at how much you have sitting aside, how much credit you have access to that you are potentially using. I'm going to say this is one of those worst case scenarios. There are some dishonest people in this world that literally take all the credit cards that they can, they max them out, they withdraw the money from it and disappear off the face of the earth. That definitely reflects poorly on you when you take cash advances and don't pay it off. So I definitely feel like you should literally be at that point where if you're going to take the money, make sure you're going to pay it back, and don't have too many where you're literally using off you're maxing all of them out and not paying them back, because that puts you at high risk and you're not going to be able to, one, get more credit, two, you don't think you're going to be buying a house or getting a mortgage, and you're not going to get approved for anything larger. But with that being said, don't close any of your credit cards either. So when you close off a credit card on your account, basically what that does is it shows that a portion of your credit, something that you had in possession, has now gone. It's been deleted, it's been taken from you, or you've canceled it. It shows to them that you don't really know how to manage money, so that's probably why you closed it. It's also one of those things where it's better to have the credit card for when you need it, opposed to not having it and needing it and not being able to get it. So you don't have to close it. If you pay it off, let's say a lot of people do this. When they have a credit card that they've had such a high balance on, they finally paid it off, they want to close it. Instead of closing it, literally keep it aside for like an emergency purchase. So put small things like gas or flowers for your wife or a date night, and then pay it off after that 21 day. So after that, I would definitely say if you're looking to get a mortgage, do not acquire any more credit. So please say this with me, like repeat it. Do not get any more credit cards. No more line of credits, no new car, no new furniture, no additional credit cards. Not even something as small as a cell phone, because cell phone and not paying your cell phone bills, I'll tell you 100% appears on your credit report. Let me tell you. By doing this will definitely, and I'm asking you, it will definitely affect your ability to get a mortgage, especially when your credit is already up and down. Because here's another liability that you have to pay off that they haven't accounted for, and now when they start accounting for it, and then on top of that, you add a mortgage, that becomes the biggest issue. So if you're going to purchase something, I think the first thing that you should do, definitely ask them if they're going to be pulling your credit. If they tell you that they're going to be pulling your credit, and they just say something like, it's just a small hit, do not believe them. Don't do it, because even the smallest hit can definitely affect you. So these are a few of my tips that I have when it comes to building your credit for you to be able to get a mortgage. I believe either pre-approval or mortgage should be my next video. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you got anything informative in it, definitely give it a thumbs up, like, comment, share, subscribe, leave any questions that you have down below. And thank you so much for watching my video. If you have any questions, I'll definitely try to get them answered within the upcoming videos. But until next time, guys, thank you so much, and I love you so much. Have a good day. Have a good night whenever you're watching this. Thank you.